Welcome to episode 6 of the Comedy Kitchen. I'm your host, Dennis Wirth, local comedian out of New England, bringing on all my friends from comedy to do my two favorite things in life, to do some stand-up and to eat. Everybody thinks I'm doing a cooking show. I like to cook. No. I like to eat, baby. That's what we're doing. We got new things happening. We got the New England theme today. We're going to make some New England clam chowder today. Good stuff. We got a new studio. That's why you haven't seen me on in a while, but we are back. We're living large. With the new studio, we also got a new live house band. Please welcome Bernie's Garage. Give us a little taste, guys. All right, good stuff right there. A little taste of what you're going to get from Bernie's Garage. All right, for our guest today, I'm bringing on one of my friends I've worked with a lot in comedy. It is my privilege. Please welcome to the show, Mr. Johnny Joyce.
Hey, Dennis.
Welcome, Johnny. Thanks for coming on, man.
What's going on?
You ready to make some New England clam chowder?
Sure am.
Good stuff, man. All right, this is the Comedy Kitchen. We do the cooking thing and the comedy thing. So before we get started, tell the folks, how'd you get started out in comedy?
I started in comedy in 1992, believe it or not, I started in Boston and started doing some open mics at Nick's and worked my way up the ladder across the number of years and went to New York in late 90s and I came back to Boston and now I reside in Drake, Mass. and I work all over the country.
Been going ever since. You've been headlining the local scene, and I've had you in a few of my rooms sometimes headlining, and it's all good stuff. All right, what we're going to need to get going is we are going to need some bacon bits. I had a little bit of taste of your clam chowder. We got some bacon bits.
Nice.
You can open those up. All right, we got to need it.
Bacon's nice. Bacon bits.
Yeah, that's for the taste. We're going to put those right on the bottom quarter of a case. We'll do it over in case you're spilling it. You're not going to spill any, right?
Nah, I don't think so.
All right. Fill that thing right up. That ain't even close to enough. Turn on our little oven here. You want to preheat it just to simmer. We're going to simmer it a little bit.
I used to do this.
And that's why the bacon fat's sticking them, and that's what makes it taste so good, baby. All right, we're going to throw those right in there. We got that going on. After that, we got some clam juice. We're going to grab the clams over there, and we got a can opener right over there. If you want
I think we got a pull top here, Dennis.
No, that's not the one. These are the clams over here.
Geez. Well,
He's getting ahead of himself on the Comedy Kitchen, but it's all good.
It's funny because when I'm cooking at home, it's usually toast.
It's usually
so
toast, see?
It's not a lot.
We're stepping it up here in the Comedy Kitchen, that's right. Toast, and you can have some clam chowder with your toast. All right, so we're going to strain that right in there and get the clam juice in there. You got to pour the clams right into the strainer if you want. And we will set our clams off to the side. All right, so we got the clam juice, we got the bacon bits in there,
that looks good.
It's getting there. You want 3 medium-sized potatoes, okay, to go in your clam chowder, and I have 1, 2, 3 potatoes. I used to juggle, but we don't want to juggle with food. All right, we're going to peel these up here. I've pre-washed them, so they are pre-washed. So we got a potato peel over there. I got a potato peel over here, and we can throw the peels right inside of this strainer.
Sure.
And while we're going, why don't you tell the people, all the years you've been doing comedy, what's one of your favorite memories from comedy?
One of my favorite memories is probably working at the Comedy Connection in Boston over the years, and doing comedy in Boston at the Comedy Connection back in the day was like the Thunderdome. You know what I mean?
Thunderdome.
Everything was pretty loud in there, and of course
they call you Mad Max.
Yeah,
Mad Max from Thunderdome.
Of course, in the Nick's Comedy Stop days when it used to be, I used to call it the Black Room back in the early '90s. That was the loudest room in Boston, so that was a lot of fun.
That was the place to play, huh?
Yeah, of course. And some of the bigger headliners, Robert Schimmel, and we had Steve Sweeney, Stephen Wright, that used to stop by the Comedy Connection. It was always nice to be working in a place like that and running into big guys like that, comedy legends.
Sure, a lot of people don't know that a lot of, the major comics that are on the scene right now, they started out in local places that were playing. Stephen Wright, Dennis Leary, Jay Leno, they all started on the scene around here. And
you still see a lot of these guys. I mean, when I was up in North Andover on a number of occasions, just at some small restaurants, you'd see Jay Leno in the early '90s just pop in. I mean, this was a guy that, as we know, took over the Tonight Show. A lot of people don't know that Jay had a run up against Joan Rivers at one time. Supposedly was going to take over the show. Mm-hmm. So
Hey, he's a Boston guy, and he's made it big, and good for him.
Yeah,
There's some
he's
good
got a
stuff
heck of a
right
lot
there.
of cars, though, doesn't he?
Everybody's got their thing. I guess
got a
cars
ton
is
of
his
cars.
thing. All right, we got your little cutting board over there, and after you got it peeled, you want to dice it up into maybe the size of a sugar cube. We're going to cut up the potatoes with our trusty knife and throw them right in there.
I used to do a lot of potatoes in the Navy when I was in the Navy.
That's right. You were a Seabee, right?
I was a Seabee,
so
but
tell them a little bit about that.
Well, I started out in the U.S. Navy. I started out as a radio man, then I got picked up by a separate group, which were dirt sailors, which are Seabees. We were construction, so we were builders. But when you didn't do the right thing in the field, you had to go back in and peel potatoes. That's exactly what they made us do. They made us go back in and peel these things.
That was like a punishment?
And you're talking thousands and thousands of potatoes, not just a couple like the Comedy Kitchen. Thousands we used to have.
Well, there's so many people in the Army, I guess you'd have to peel a lot of potatoes to get them going.
We'd have a lot of those guys.
So
now,
that's good stuff.
Dicing these up into small little cubes from what Dennis told me here.
Small little cubes, and then you know what you do once you get them in a cube? You're going to put them right in there. And we're going to let them simmer in here until they're fork tender. When you can put a fork through them and they're tender enough, and you want to stir them occasionally so they don't stick to the bottom of the pan. And that's all good. All right, so as you told the people, you're out of the Lowell Drake area. Tell them what your website is.
My website's bostonsbestcomedians.com, and you can find me on the web at johnnyjoycecomedylive.com. The best way to find me is with bostonsbestcomedians.com. It's a unique website. It's designed around some of the best comedians in Boston and some comedians from all over the country, including, you know, in California, New York, and we just try to keep the site as fresh as we can, and we do a lot of fundraisers. And one of the biggest ones we have coming up is we have a Boston Strong bike run, which is going to be designed around entertainment in the parking lot of the Medford Elks on September 21st, in memory of Crystal Campbell, who was from Medford during the marathon bombings. And we're putting a big bike run together. There's going to be over 4,000 motorcycles we're anticipating on that particular run. So it's not just about comedy, it's about raising money for...
That's one of the fun things in comedy. You can do what you love to do, and you can help people out at the same time. And certainly the Boston Marathon tragedy, there's some people out there, they need some money. And it's guys like us in comedy, they're getting together and making that happen to earn some money for them. So.
Well, what we're going to do, Dennis, is we're not just going to... there goes a couple potatoes.
Hey, we make a mess here at the Comedy Kitchen.
We'll
it's all good.
We'll get those before the rats. What we're going to do is we're not just going to donate a lot of them proceeds to the One Fund Boston. What we're going to do is we're going to build an account through one of the local banks in Medford and try to use that money to build ramps and do stuff like that, so we can accommodate some handicap accessible bathrooms and stuff like that for folks that are really going to need the help.
Well, that's awesome stuff you got going on over there. All right, so tell them where's some gigs. Where can they catch you doing some comedy? I know you play mine. If you want to check out my website in Central Mass, I have Johnny in my rooms a lot. It's www.denniswirth.webs.com. We got Joke in the Box Comedy Club and catch Johnny at one of the shows. But other than that, where's some shows you doing coming up?
Well, I'm doing some stuff down in Foxwoods on Sunday nights. That stuff should probably pick back up in the fall. And I do a lot of stuff with the fundraisers in the Merrimack Valley, up towards my way, up in Drake up towards Drake at Lowell area. So we're doing a lot of stuff with the fundraisers. A lot of stuff I'm doing now, not just the comedy clubs, Dennis, is I'm doing a lot of corporate stuff, a lot of private stuff, and a lot of fundraisers. I think that's
it's good to give back. It's absolutely
it's key to give back to different organizations, and of course working with a lot of different programs.
So Barney's, any of you guys drive motorcycles? You ready for a bike run or anywhere or anything?
Road bike.
Road bike? You pedal the bicycle. You can ride a tricycle if you want. We don't care. Just show up, support the bike run, and hey, check out his website. Come out, support the bike run, and support local comedy, because like we said, people like you are nice enough to come out and give us an audience, and that's how guys like Jay Leno and Dennis Leary, that's how they get to be big, because people like you support local comedy and give them a stage to start out on.
There's so many shows, though, going on all around New England. So, you know, everywhere you go, you see somebody else trying to, you know, start something up like yourself, Dennis.
Yes.
And a lot of folks need to get out and laugh. I mean, when you take a good look around, you got to get a laugh in.
With all the stress in the world, comedy is a good relief from stress. It's always fun to laugh, absolutely. All right, after we got these in here, the next thing we are going to do is we are going to add 2 cans of cream of celery soup. So those are the ones with the pop top.
Yep,
if you want, just throw those right in.
These are the easy ones. These are the ones where you can't really cut yourself.
Starting to smell good already. I'm ready to eat. Maybe it's just, you know, you get hungry on the Comedy Kitchen. I'm a big guy. I like to eat. It's all good. All right.
So we're adding this right into the potatoes.
Right into
Bacon
the potatoes.
bits, cream of celery. Now, if I steal this recipe, Dennis, will it work just as good as it did today?
It will work just as
kitchen?
good at home, and you can impress your girlfriend with it, see? See, no more toast for the girlfriend. I'm cooking your clam chowder now, baby,
She
see?
called me on the way, said she had no eggs. I said, you should have came with us.
You
could
see
have had
that?
clam
She could have
chowder.
had some clam chowder. That's all right. We'll give you a little bit you take home to her. You buy her a flour on the way, clam chowder flour. You are in, Johnny. Don't even worry about it. Oh, boy. What are some of your favorite soups other than the clam chowder?
I'm making it, it's just I cooked up a turkey the other day. I had one in the freezer. I was making some turkey broth and stuff like that. And, I like chicken soup, too. Chicken soup's one of my favorites.
Yeah, when you're sick, chicken noodle soup, good stuff. All right, we're going to add the fresh clams right in there. Well, fresh, they're out of the can, but the clams are going in there. But I tell you, canned clams here in New England are better than you get out west. I know I'm a big Boston Celtics fan, and I saw Ray Allen. He says when he's out west, he always gets the beef soup because the beef's fresh out there. By the time the clams get there, he don't know what he's tasting. You want good clam chowder, you get it here in New England, baby. That's what's going on. All right, so all the years you've been doing comedy, I know you deal with hecklers sometimes, you deal with drunk people sometimes. You got a crazy story. What was the craziest thing ever happened to you in comedy?
Well, there's always somebody that when you get these hecklers, it's always that one person, for instance, that wants to come up and tell you a joke after they heckled
After the
you.
show,
After
yeah.
they heckled you, after they sat there and tried to get into your space, they'll turn around and come up to you and say, hey, I have this joke to tell. I want to tell you this joke. And you always get that one person that's that drunk that thinks that they were funnier than you were on stage. I think I get a lot of that. And you know what? I try to avoid confrontation with some folks because once you open up the door and you start talking to them, then it becomes a bigger problem.
Yeah, everybody, they go out, they catch a live comedy show, and sometimes they get so into the show, they want to be a part of the show. They think they can be a comedian
Right.
from the crowd and
That's
leave
the
it to the
thing.
professionals.
Yeah, well, that's the biggest thing. You always hear that from somebody. I did a place, as a matter of fact, this is a great story. It was only a week ago. I did a place over in Revere, Massachusetts called The Cove. It's right on the beach in Revere, Massachusetts. And it's got to be something like out of the Blues Brothers where the chicken wire comes down and it's just absolutely the most dangerous looking bunch of people you'd ever want to meet. And this one particular kid had come up to me and said, I think I'm funny and I'm probably funnier than you. Well, I did the set, I finished up, and I said to him, did you watch my set? He said, no, I was outside.
There you go. You never know, right?
There you go. There's a true comedian for you.
So, Bernie's, anybody doing the live music stuff? Anybody ever try to be a musician during your show or heckle you? Or
Yes.
you've been heckled? What's some of the stuff they say? What?
We had this girl come on stage and she was like, play some Journey, play some Journey. Got these 6-inch heels. Fell flat on her face.
Play some
Her
Journey?
boyfriend just laughed.
Oh, gee, that's a really nice guy for you right there. You see it all on the scene. When you're doing the live scene, you see it all. We've seen it all. All right, next thing we're going to do is we are going to need a half a cup of heavy cream and a half a cup of whole milk. So why don't we grab our half cup out of there. And I will grab our ingredients over here. All right, so what do we got? A half a cup. Pull that right out.
It's a nice little cookie you have here, Dennis.
Hey, we got it all going live here at the Comedy Kitchen.
I can't
All
wait
right.
when we get some.
This is gonna be
people
good
to
stuff.
sponsor you, some big
food companies,
big stove companies. And
Someday
stuff like
we will
that
make
come
the
in.
Food Network. Don't even worry. I have no doubt whatsoever. All right. Half a cup of whole milk, half a cup of heavy cream. All right, maybe stir that up a little bit. And we will get that going good. All right, so as you were growing up and thinking about doing comedy, who are some of the mainstream comedies that inspired you to want to do it that you looked up to?
Some of the bigger comedians I liked as I was growing up, of course, was George Carlin, who I missed terribly.
Genius.
And I wish he was around for this administration in Washington right now, because it would be
See his take
absolutely
on it.
hilarious.
Yeah.
And of course, Richard Pryor. He was one of my favorites. Eddie Murphy as a young kid growing up, and of course. He was probably one of my favorites, but Carlin and Richard Pryor were two of my tops, and I really enjoyed seeing him. As a matter of fact, when Carlin was at the casino in Hampton Beach a couple of times in the early 90s, 96, 97, I got to do a 5-minute spot in front of him.
Did you really?
Yeah, when I worked up on the beach with Richard Anthony, me and Richard were doing the R-rated hypnotist show at Guido Murphy's. We got to know the producer of, the manager rather, of the casino in Hampton Beach, and we had talked to him, and he had me do a 5 5-minute spot before Carlin on 3 separate summer occasions. I never got to meet George because he was one of these guys that when he was inside his bus, he'd stay inside the bus, and then he'd come out after the show. He'd go right down the stairs and out. One time he had showed up down at Guido Murphy's. This is when he was drinking. He had stopped drinking on a number of occasions. And he had come back down to Guido Murphy's a couple times. We actually got to talk to him. He said, just do not say my name. Don't let anybody know it's me.
Well, now you've let the cat out of the bag here on the Comedy Kitchen. People know.
He'd wear a pair of glasses and a hat. And one night I remember, this wasn't one of the times that I opened for him. He had come out on stage, and he was standing on stage, and he was obliviated, and the state cops were trying to keep the crowd down because it took him almost 35 minutes to get out on the stage, and he flipped one of the state cops' hats off his head from the stage, and it caused chaos. Absolute chaos, and they escorted him off the bridge that night in his bus. They said, after the show, you'll get on that bus and take off. It was one of my better stories, I could tell you.
Well, you can always say you've opened up for George Carlin, and how many comics can say that? That's a great memory for you, that you can do something like that.
It was absolutely
You ever flick a cop's head off?
No.
That's probably not something you want to try in comedy. I'm guessing that's not a good move.
There were a bunch of them en route, too, with their lasers, and I would not even get out and flip their hat off.
Don't mess with the state troopers in comedy. That's so good. All right, next thing we're going to do is we need a half a tablespoon of butter. So if we get one of those, do we got our tablespoon out here?
Yep. We do have a tablespoon.
All right, you're just going to set that on the top of it and just let it melt right in. You don't want to mix it, stir it. Just let it dissolve right into your clam chowder, and it's all going to be good. All right.
Knock another good piece
there
off.
We go. It's a little frozen there, so
everybody loves butter.
And we all washed our hands before the Comedy Kitchen, so don't let it worry you.
We're not people from Subway.
That's right.
No, I'm just kidding.
Okay. No, I like Subway. I eat good. All right. All right. So locally, who are some of the comics on the local scene that you enjoy working with?
Well, there's a number of comics on the local scene. I mean, starting out, when I started out, you'd run into guys that, when I first started going to Nick's Comedy Stop, I wasn't even doing stand-up. I'd just show up on a Saturday night. I'd buy a ticket and I'd see him. And, of course, you'd see guys like, Steve Sweeney and Tony V and Frank Santarelli and Paul Nardizzi and Lenny Clark. And you'd run into all these big guys, and you'd get to see them when they were just young, when they were in their 30s and mid-30s. And
just coming up.
I think that Kevin Knox, God bless him, he was probably one of my favorites because
high energy
Kevin did it. Kevin did it the way Kevin wanted to do it, and that was the thing about Boston. I mean, you always got these guys who were high energy, and I think Kevin he showed you that there was so much to comedy, and not even just being high energy, but being really, really good at what he did, and off stage just as funny. So it was just great to be around guys like that.
He was a nice guy, Kevin. I was one of the good guys on the comedy scene here in Boston, and he had a lot of chances to go to New York, and he decided to stick around on the Boston scene, and I thought that was great. It's a great scene here in Boston.
He tried L.A. once or twice, and he says he'd rather just make it right here in New England and do as many shows as he could in New England, and the stuff that he did in Vegas, he was late into his career when Kevin started doing a lot of stuff in Vegas, and it was great to be around a guy like that.
One of the great guys to remember in comedy. All right, you ready for the secret ingredient?
Yep.
All right, this is it. This is what makes it all come together. Dillweed. All right. You ever had a girlfriend call you dillweed?
No.
See, now you think it was an insult, and now once I get into cooking, there's actually a spice called dillweed, and we're going to sprinkle a little bit of the dillweed right on top.
It looks like...
I've had ex-girlfriends call me a dillweed. Now, I thought they were insulting me, and little did I know, they were saying I'm the spice of the relationship. See, that's what it really means.
I've had ex-girlfriends call me worse than that.
That's right. But right now,
that's when I was
worrying about the dillweed. All right. So we're going to turn that down a little bit and let that simmer.
If I had a paper, I could roll this stuff up.
That's right. You'd never know what you get out of the dillweed. All right, throw the cover back on. And we are going to let that simmer for about 15 minutes, okay? And we're going to cook that till it's thick. Once it's thick, it's ready to eat, and we are going to enjoy that stuff right up. Okay, so getting toward the end of the show here. After it's all said and done, you look back on your comedy career, what do you want people to remember you for? What are your goals?
Well, I'll tell you, I mean, as comfortable as you, I mean, when you get on stage, look at these guys. I've always wanted to play a guitar, and I've always wanted to be a musician, and I've always wanted to be this, and I've always wanted to be that. And the things that I've done over the years in comedy, a lot of guys that start out in comedy, they want to make it big. They want to be the Jay Leno's. They want to be the Dennis Larrys.
Yeah.
They want to make it. But you have to understand, with whatever you do, whatever you love to do, no matter what it is, you have to enjoy what you do. You have to be... you have to like it, and I like it a lot, and it's a lot of fun. And you know, I never wanted to be anywhere else but on a stage, and it didn't matter if I made it or I didn't. I really enjoy what I do, and I really like to give back. Now that I'm later in life, it's 43 years old. Don't forget, that's a long time ago when I started.
Way back when.
Yeah, it's great.
You're dating yourself, Johnny.
right? And I'm white as a ghost. And when I was a young kid, I had dark hair. But it's just great to know that you can be around a bunch of people like yourself and enjoy comedy and have fun with it. And of course, giving something back to a community, or giving something back to the American Cancer Society, or multiple sclerosis, whatever it might be. These are the things I think that have shaped me over the years. That now I know that it's more important just to give back and to have fun with it. And if you don't have fun with it, you shouldn't be doing it.
You know, that's what they say. They say if you do what you love to do in life, you never work a day in your life. You know, in comedy,
right.
You love to do it. And even if you don't have it big, you're going out, you're having the time of your life. And that's what it's all about, is doing fun stuff in comedy. All right. You want to take a little whiff of that, huh? Oh, that's smelling good. I'm almost ready. All right. Let's show the people our finished product here, what it's going to look like. What do you say? Take a little scoop out in our clam chowder bowl. All right. I don't know if we can get a zoom in on that or not. Oh, I'm pouring a little. We make a mess. Don't worry about it. See, Mom would flip out if I did it at home, see? But I can do it on the Comedy Kitchen and get away with it. It's going to be all good. We're going to let it simmer a little bit more, okay, and maybe have a little bit. It is the Comedy Kitchen, Johnny. We've done the cooking thing. We've shown the people how we make up our clam chowder. Would you be gracious enough to give them a little bit of your comedy?
Sure.
All right, we're going to be right back and give it over to Bernie's Garage. Welcome back to the Comedy Kitchen, and I hope you guys enjoy your clam chowder. Cook that up, and it's great eating, okay? We did the cooking thing. We're going to do the comedy thing. And remember, support local comedy. Check out my website, www.dennisworth.webs.com. Joke in the Box Comedy Clubs in Central Mass. And one of the guys I've booked before, it is my pleasure to give you the comedy genius of my friend, Mr. Johnny Joyce.
Thanks, guys.
Go get him, Johnny.
All right, hey, it's great to be here. We just did the cooking thing. We had the clam chowder going on over here, and I like driving up here on Route 2. I was driving up here this morning, and of course the state police are hiding everywhere on the side of Route 2. You can find them just underneath that Johnny Appleseed sign, you know, where it says the home of Johnny Appleseed. And they come out of trees on hand gliders. This is what the cops do. They do. And when I was driving up here, I seen the cop. He had the laser out. I was doing about 67 miles per hour. He's pointing it right at my car. So then I just fell back, went behind the car in front of me, and he ended up getting the ticket. So that's good. When you're driving down to Connecticut, the cops are even more interesting than the ones on Route 2. They hide behind rocks. They hide behind guardrails. They hide in the trees. They come out of the trees once again on hand gliders. But if you're pulled over in Connecticut and you have enough points on your card from Foxwoods, you can actually swipe it inside the cruiser and you get off on a technicality because you have enough points to get rid of the ticket. That's good. So the weather's been extremely hot the last couple of days. It's been so hot that I can't even stand anymore. If you hear one more person say, is it too hot for you? Is it too hot? Has it been too hot? Yesterday was 103 degrees. 103 degrees. That is freaking warm. I can't wait for it to snow. Really, I can't. Taking your motorcycle out like I do, driving on the bike, it's extremely hot. It's like driving in an oven. It's like, I don't know how people can do it. I don't know if you ride motorcycles at home. I do have a Harley Davidson, and last month was Laconia, which was Bike Week. I took my mother and father with me up to Laconia for Bike Week. I had my mother in the sidecar, my father in the back. She started shooting her mouth off in Concord, New Hampshire. I yanked the pin, shot her in the woods. That's my mother. She loves the heat. She's always like, this heat is too much for me. My mother sounds like the guy from Beetlejuice. She's like, I love you, darling. How are you, sweetheart? She's got one of these long, misty cigarettes. It has a 9-inch ash on the end of the cigarette. She could do anything, and that ash will not fall off the cigarette. I just came back from Foxwoods. I talked about driving down there. I won $5,000 in Foxwoods. How about that? $5,000. That's amazing, isn't it? Yeah, $5,000, and I put back $3,000. What a loser. I had this old lady sitting next to me. She has an oxygen tank on her head. She's smoking a cigarette. Sounds like my mother. I love you, darling. She's right next to me, and she's like, I can't believe you won all this money. And I said, whoa, 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 whoa. You got to put that cigarette out. You have an oxygen tank on. Please, put the cigarette out. You're going to take this place out. She looked right at me. She goes, don't worry about it. I shut the tank off. Okay. This old guy next to me, he gets mad at me because I start winning. When you're down at Foxwoods, if you hadn't noticed, the older folks, they love to play the slot machine. So he gets up, he gets mad. That's it, I'm out of here. I quit. You've been on that machine for 10 minutes. I was on it for a half hour. You hit all this money. And he takes off down the other end of the casino. So I can see him down the end. Well, I hit the button again. I hit for $800. I see him get up. He's like, you son of a, I'm gonna get... Starts coming at me with his walker. You know, it took him like 3 days to get to me. He's losing tennis balls. The old lady's sitting there with the cigarette going, hip check him and I'll give you $100. I'm like, relax, Ma, will you? So, I just had a baby. Thank you very much. Thanks a lot. Yeah, that was a big hit. It was bigger than hitting in the casino. Actually, he's with me today. He's out in the truck, so I got to get out of here. I left the air conditioning on. It's a little warm out. Don't leave the kids in the car when it's hot. Leave the air conditioning on. I love my son. His name is Jack. Isn't that a great name? I love that name, Jack. He's so cool. He sounds like he smokes cigarettes and drinks coffee. Da-da. Da-da. Imagine hearing that voice every day. I lied about the whole thing. No, he's 13 years old. He'll be 14 this month on the 23rd. He actually sounds like the cat from Sylvester. Remember the cat from Sylvester that ran next to Sylvester? It was his son. Try waking up to this voice every morning you wake up, and this is what you hear. Father, 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 father. I know it's annoying, isn't it? Father, father. It's like, oh, it drives me crazy. Had 6 kids in my family, 4 sisters, my brother, and myself. My parents told me years ago at a wedding that they used to have sex to different songs. You know that song you hear right when you're ready to eat? Glenn Miller, In the Mood. Longest wedding song recorded on record, 14 minutes, 30 seconds long. My parents told me they used to fool around to that song. I couldn't picture it, but I had to. Number 5. Oh, boy. But I got to get out of here. I have to get back down Route 2 and fight off the police. Before I go, I have to tell you this. If you're buying your kids clothes, don't buy them a shirt like this. I bought a shirt like this at Walmart and got pulled over by the cops with this shirt on. Cop says to me, "You been drinking?" I went, "Yep, like a sponge." So I had to get out. I'm SpongeBob SquarePants. Please don't arrest me. I'll never make it back to the Krusty Krab. I can see people driving by. I'm going, here's the guy at the toll booth. Here's your 50 cents, you son of a... How about driving down the highway 3 in the morning, you're on Route 2 and you pull up next to a state cop. How you doing, buddy? Hey, have a great day. See you later, everybody.
Great job, Johnny. Thank you guys at home for tuning in. Thank you for our studio audience, and thank you to my guest, Mr. Johnny Joyce, for tuning in. Until next time, remember, eat well and laugh well, folks. Bernie's Garage, take us out.
They told me I was safe. I paid my last farewell. So if you're in this, I'm already here.